Now we shall study about the structure of the chromosomes. This picture shows you the typical diagram of the chromosome structure. We shall study about it in detail. Now in this region, you can see that it is written as heterochromatin region, and this is the euchromatin region. So what are these euchromatins and what are these heterochromatids? First, we shall look into that. So I have given the comparison between the hetero and the euchromatin. The heterochromatins are tightly packed form of DNA in the chromosome, whereas the euchromatin is the loosely packed region of the chromosome. And this tightly packed heterochromatin has high DNA density, whereas the loosely packed euchromatin has a low DNA density. And since the heterochromatins are tightly packed, they stain dark, whereas the euchromatin, which are loosely packed, they stain lightly. And where are these hetero and euchromatin present? So the hetero are present, they are found in the periphery of the nucleus in the eukaryotic cells only, and euchromatin, these are found in the inner body of the nucleus of the prokaryotes and the eukaryotic cells. Okay, so this euchromatin, you can see that they are present both in the prokaryotes and in the eukaryotes, but heterochromatin is present only in the eukaryotic region and they are present in the periphery. Whereas your euchromatin, they are present in the inner body of the nucleus. See here, this is the inner body of the nucleus where they are present. So since the heterochromatins are tightly packed, they show little or no transcriptional activity, and euchromatin, they are loosely packed, hence they have transcriptional activity and they participate very actively in this process. The euchromatins are compactly coiled, the heterochromatins are compactly packed, whereas the euchromatin are loosely coiled. And since because of the compactly coiled, the heterochromatin have late replicative, whereas the euchromatin have the early replicative. And the regions of heterochromatin are sticky, whereas euchromatin are non-sticky. And heterochromatin is inactive, as we told that they do not show any transcriptional activity, whereas euchromatin are generally active and they show the transcriptional activity. So heterochromatin are genetically inactive, whereas euchromatin are genetically active. The phenotypes remain unchanged of an organisms, whereas in euchromatin you can see the variation may be seen due to the effect of DNA during the genetic process. So what is the function of the heterochromatin? It permits the gene expression regulation and also it maintains the structural integrity of the cell. The function of the eukaryotes, as we told, it is involved in the replication as they are loosely coiled and it results in the genetic variation and permits the genetic transcription. So a heterochromatin and euchromatin have definite features. You can see that the euchromatin, as we spoke, it is less condensed region of the chromosome. If they are less condensed, means they are loosely coiled. Since they are loosely coiled, they are transcriptionally active regions. And this is the region where the 30 nanometer fibers form the radial loop domains. Okay, so let me draw it and show you. See, if you remember the previously we told about the structure, okay, the protein scaffold, and then you can see the loops like this. Okay, so this is what constitutes your 30 nanometer fiber radial loop domain. And heterochromatin is exactly opposite of your euchromatin. They are tightly coiled, and because of this, they are inactive. And radial loop domains compacted even more further. They are more compacted. Hence, they are. That is why we are saying it is tightly compacted. That is why they stay dark. So you can see the types of heterochromatins. Heterochromatins, here you can see greater compactation of the radial loop, but that is not the case in the euchromatin. That is why they are quite active in the transcription. So what do you mean by, like, we are talking about the types of heterochromatin? What do we mean by constitutive heterochromatin? Means they are permanent silence. Okay, always they are silent, they are inactive. It consists of the centromere and the telomere. That is, it is present in the centromere and the telomere. This region, centromere, and this region is the telomere. So, what is present in the centromere and telomere? Constitutive heterochromatin are present, which are highly tightly coiled regions. And they are prone to position effect, that is, active to inactive genes. So they change the position wherein they become inactive, from an active to an inactive gene they form. Another type of heterochromatin is the facultative heterochromatin. Of course, these are inactive for specific period only. And transcriptionally active is function of time. That is, they can become active, but it depends on the time when should they be active. And the X chromosome inactivation, which we have already studied, okay, the X chromosome inactivation, or it is also called as lionization or the Barr body, consists of the facultative heterochromatin. Okay, so you know that in the cell we have two X chromosome, and one of the X chromosome is inactivated, and this inactivation of one X chromosome is known as the dosage composition. We spoke about it, and it is randomly chosen which has to become compacted. And this, suppose if this is chosen to be inactive, it is called as facultative heterochromatin, because they don't remain inactive throughout. Again, when the germlines are being formed, this X chromosomes become active again. Hence, they are called as facultative heterochromatin. So, a very good example for this is your X chromosome inactivation. But during the reproduction, again in the females, the X chromatin which was inactive becomes active. Hence, these are facultative heterochromatin. So types of chromosomes based on the shapes you can see. Now this is the centromere and this is the spindle fibers. This is called as the P arm, which is the shorter than the Q arm. Obviously Q arm is then longer. So this is what is a chromatid is. And these are the sister chromatid. Now let us look into the different types of the chromosomes based on their size. So the linear monocentric chromosomes are often classified relative to the position of the centromere. How the positions are, the centromere is present on the chromosome, based on that the chromosomes are being classified. So a chromosome that lacks the centromere, they don't have a centromere, then they are called as acentric chromosome. Here that picture is not shown. Okay, so they do not have the centromere. Those are called as acentric chromosome. That means they will just be like this. There is no centromere. The next one, a chromosome with the centromere at the center or close to the center is a metacentric chromosome. Their arms are approximately equal and each daughter chromosome form a V shape and a face. So the next one you can see is the submetacentric chromosome. When a centromere is somewhat off the center, okay, not exactly here, you can see that more or less they are in center, but here it is off center. The chromosome is a submetacentric chromosome. Each daughter submetacentric chromosome assumes a J shape at the anaphase. Whereas what did we tell here? In anaphase, they appear like a V shaped. Okay, and this appears as a J shaped in the anaphase. So a chromosome with a centromere very close to the one end of the arm is known as the acrocentric chromosome. So don't confuse with acrocentric and acentric. Acentric means they do not have the centromere. Acrosome means they are almost near the tip of the chromosomes. So it appears like an I shaped at the anaphase because of the arms are greatly unequal in length. See this arm and this arm, okay, there's a difference. And the last one what we are going to see is a chromosome with the centromere at or close to the terminal region, okay, almost completely terminal. These are known as the telocentric chromosomes. Such chromosomes keep a rod shaped like configuration during the anaphase. So this is telocentric, that is the centromere is towards the edge and they appear like rod like during the anaphase. Acrocentric almost near the closer to the one of the arms, and here you can see that they appear as a J shaped in the anaphase, and submetacentric chromosome they appear as a J shaped, sorry, acrocentric appear as a I shaped, and subcentric look like a J shaped, and metacentric appear like a V shaped. So V, J, I, rod, that is during the anaphase. We have metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and telocentric. And if there is no centromere, it is known as the acentric chromosome. So this is a chromosome which appears in the meta phase. So if the centromere of the chromosome is damaged, such chromosome fails to move at an anaphase. That is to tell that if the centromere of the chromosome is damaged, then the chromosome cannot move apart in the anaphase. That is during the cell division. Now we can look into the centromeres. So we shall study about the centromere and the kinetochore. So centromere is constricted chromosomal region at the center at which two identical sister chromatids of the metaphase chromosomes are held together, this region. So what is the role of the centromere? So the centromere plays a critical role in ensuring the correct distribution of the sister chromatids to the daughter cell during the mitosis. So this is the main function. As I said earlier, if the centromere is damaged, then it is not possible to move apart. The sister chromatids cannot move apart during the anaphase. So as this mitosis proceeds, the centromere gets attached to the microtubules, okay, of the mitotic spindle, and the two sister chromatids separate and move towards the opposite poles of the centromere. See, these are the microtubules. So during the separation of the two sister chromosomes, it happens because of this spindle fibers which are present in the centromere. And the centromere contain what type of chromatin? They contain heterochromatin. So the centromere and the telomere, this is the centromere and this is the telomere. Both of them consist of the heterochromatin. What type of heterochromatin they consist? They consist of consecutive heterochromatin. That is, they are highly coiled region. So when you look into the electron microscope, what it has revealed is there is a presence of a plate-like structure which is highly proteinaceous, and it is called as the kinetochore. Here you can see this plate-like structure. It is known as the kinetochore, and this is situated at the outer face. So the face is here, the inner plate is here, and then you can see that outside this inner plate is the kinetochore. So do not confuse with centromere and the kinetochore. Both are not the same. So the kinetochore, what is its function means? Kinetochore functions as the site of attachment of the chromosome to the microtubules. So it is the kinetochore which is present in the inner plate. And where is the inner plate present? It is present in the centromere. And this kinetochore is the one which is the site of attachment of the chromosomes to the microtubules of the mitotic spindle. So the kinetochore protein then acts as a molecular motors that drive the movement of the chromosomes along the spindle fibers during the anaphase. You know that during the anaphase what happens? So this is the cell and the chromosomes are pulled apart, right? They are pulled apart by the spindle fibers. So that is why we told this the chromosome, see, when they're pulled apart, they look like V-shaped. That is what we told that it is a metaphase chromosome. So we can look into another picture. Yeah, here it is. See, this is the metacentric chromosome. This is the centromere, and this is the inner plate. Okay, that is the inner kinetochore, and here we have an outer kinetochore, and these are the spindles which pulls the sister chromatids apart, and these spindles are known as microtubules, and this is the centromere. So this region is the centromere. So the centromere contains a complex systems of fiber called as the kinetochore. So the inner plate is going to, which is present on the centromere, as the kinetochore, and the kinetochore is one which is bound to the spindle fiber. So each centromere has two kinetochores. Okay, this is the centromere, and here is a kinetochore, and here it is the kinetochore, and they are linked by the chromosomal arc. So this can be pulled apart this side, and this can be pulled apart this side along with the arms. So the outer plate contains this one. The outer plate contains then electron dense inner and outer plate. The outer plate contains the fibrous material that is thought to attach to the motor protein involved in the chromosome movement, whereas the inner plate is attached to the centromic heterochromatin of the chromosome. So once again, I shall say the outer plate, what you're seeing, this one, the outer plate contains the electron dense inner and the outer plate. This outer plate contains the fibrous material that is thought to attach to the motor proteins involved in the chromosomal movement, whereas this inner plate, it is attached to the centromere. And this centromere is a heterochromatin of the chromosome, constitutive heterochromatin. So this is the magnified image of the kinetochore. The kinetochore is made up of protein fibers, you can see here, and the microtubules which assist in the formation of the spindle fibers both during the mitosis and meiosis during the anaphase. So this is the typical chromosome. Uh, we have the telomeres here, and we also told that the telomeres also consists of the heterochromatids. So what are these telomeres and what are their functions? The DNA sequences seen at the ends of the eukaryotic chromosomes are called as the telomeres. I told you that they are that cap-like structure. These are called as the telomeres. So the telomeres, why are they required? They are required for the stability and the replication of the chromosomes. These telomeres are usually heterochromatin and they are often associated with the nuclear envelope. And in humans, these telomeres consist of a sequence which consists of T, T, A, T, T, A, G, G, 1 second. Okay. It consists of T, T, A, G, G, and G. So this is repeated over at least 1,000 times. The sequence T, T, A, G, G, G. That is triple G at the end. So the other side, complementary strand of this, obviously you know that it will be A, A, T, C, C, and C. So the telomeric DNA sequence is more or less the same in human and other vertebrates. And this telomeric sequence is maintained by a special enzyme which are called as telomerase. And these telomerase is a highly unusual enzyme and it is similar to the reverse transcriptase in function. So what is the function of this reverse transcriptase? You know that to make a complementary DNA. So it is responsible for the maintenance of the constant length of the chromosome. That is the main function of this telomeres. So what did we tell about the telomeres? Telomeres are present at the end of the chromosome like a cap-like in structure, and these telomeres are almost same in the vertebrates and in human, and it consists of the repeated sequences which are known as T, T, A, G, 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 and it consists of the heterochromatids, and they also contain an enzyme which is known as telomerase, and the main function is they are required for the chromosomal replication. They protect the chromosome from the nucleus activity, otherwise the nucleus can degrade the chromosome, so they protect from that. They prevent the end of the chromosome from fusing with each other. So if there are two chromosomes, they can fuse with each other, but because of telomerase they don't fuse. And also this nuclei develops a secondary constructions, you can see here. So till here, this is the, what you're seeing is the kinetochore, that is means it is a centromere here. Centromere is present and we have the inner plate, outer plate, and the spindle fiber, and that region is known as the kinetochore, and this is known as the primary construction, and here we have the secondary construction. And sometimes what we develop a secondary constructions which are called as the nuclear organizer, that is the satellite chromosomes. So if you look at the satellite, okay, in prokaryotes, like each gene or DNA sequence is represented only once in the genome. Whereas on the other hand, eukaryote, certain DNA sequences are repeated many times along the length of the chromosomes. Sometimes many has million times. Okay, directly repeated DNA sequences are common features of the eukaryotic chromosomes, and such direct repeats can be isolated from the rest of the genomic DNA by density gradient centrifugation. So these form satellite bands near the main band of the DNA in the density gradient. And hence, because of this, they are known as the satellite DNA. So along with the main DNA, we'll be having this satellite DNA, which can be identified easily or separated easily by centrifugation, gradient centrifugation. You can easily separate the primary and the secondary constructions where it consists of the satellite chromosomes. So this satellite DNA consists of a short sequences of 5 to 100 base pairs that are repeated large number. That this is particularly in the eukaryotes and not in the prokaryotes. So the base composition of the satellite DNA is sufficiently different from that of the bulk DNA. When you consider the bulk DNA base pairs and that of the satellite, it is different. So in a species, they may have more than one satellite DNA sequences, and satellite DNA are transcriptionally inactive. Okay, so they are also heterochromatin and are located in the heterochromatic region of the centromeres and in the telomeres. And these very short DNA sequences are known as the mini satellites and the microsatellites and are found in the eukaryotic genome, as I said earlier, and they are repeated several times. So these satellite DNA, they are present where they are present in the centromere and the telomeres, and they are of short sequences, that is they consist of only 5 to 100 base pairs, which are different from that of the bulk DNA. And these satellites are also known as by another term known as mini satellites and micro satellites, and we can separate the satellite chromosome from that of the main chromosome by using the density gradient. So when you do the density gradient, they form a satellite bands near the main band. Okay. So like suppose say if you this is a centrifuge tube. So we will be having the main band like this. That is your primary construction or the primary chromosome, the bulk chromosome. Along with this, you will be having a satellite band near the main band. Okay, near the main band, we'll be having another band, which is the satellite band. So this is about the satellite DNA. So these are the final pictures, what you can see here. Look at this. This is the chromanimeta. This is the centromere. Okay, both pictures here. And chromomeres, nuclear organization, and the nucleus. So this is the telomere, which consists of the telomerase, and these are the chromonema. Here you can see again the coiled structure, chromanimeta, satellite chromosome, and the centromere.